All right, welcome to our final Crypto Masterclass webinar series. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and let me set up my screen and we're good to go. All right, and we will start on time. Okay, who have we got here? Lots of people. Lots of people I know. Wonderful. All right, guys, I'm just going to kick it off. Everyone can hear me okay? All right. Let's get it started. Warning, You have just 10 months to change the course of your financial future before it's too late. To make generational wealth for you and your family with crypto in 2021 and cash out next year at the exact top. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to time it perfectly in a couple of days of the eventual top. And you can do it even if you're starting from nothing, even if you don't know anything about blockchain or which coins to buy, without relying on luck, without relying on tips, or without having to waste a lot of time doing research. And you might think that with Bitcoin trading above 62,000, you've missed the boat. That other investors have lucked into the score of a lifetime and you're going to miss out. Again, that if you somehow pluck up the courage to buy, that you'll be the one left buying the top, holding the bag. And this couldn't possibly be more wrong. And that sounds like a big claim, and it is. And I'll prove that to you in a moment. Today, I'm going to show you how to leapfrog over the early investors who've already got in and get your fair share of the crypto gold rush. Wealth you are going to accumulate at such a dazzling speed that you'll barely comprehend that for you, everything is about to change. Think of all the things that you wouldn't have to care about if money just didn't matter anymore. Sure, there might be a few luxuries you didn't have before, but the real change will be the freedom you experience and your new level of self-respect. For my whole trading career, I've heard stories about these great traders from the past. You know, people like Paul Tudor Jones, Peter Brandt, Ed Sikota, Linda Raschke, Al Brooks, others. And right at the start, most of them had a breakout year. They trading one of the wild bull markets of the past. And they had one historic bull market that just broke them out. And they rode it with skill and they rode it with courage into a small fortune. And then with their legendary status assured, they were able to relax and take a slow, steady, but inevitable path to wealth creation. Safe and secure that they'd never have to fear blowing up an account, that they'd never have to try recklessly trading to make it back after a big mistake. I've been trading for 11 years full time, and I've never ridden a runaway bull right to the end. Never done it. And before this year, the biggest single withdrawal I'd made in one go from my trading accounts was 100K. And the only reason I took that out was because I was getting married and I needed to. And I don't even think I have the right to call myself a successful trader until I do. At least one time in my life, parlay one great bull run into real life-changing wealth. And nothing's going to stop me doing that this year. And I would be absolutely thrilled for you to experience that alongside me. I can imagine you checking in on me in the years ahead and just letting me know how good having true freedom is in your life. And experiencing what I want, which is experiencing life with no particular constraints on my time, doing what I want, when I please, with the people I love. Imagine how it's going to feel knowing that you had the courage and the skill to build a great fortune for your family. Your partner and children are going to beam with pride talking about their father, who's the legend, the legend who changed it all for them in one incredible year. And you get to wipe the smug smiles right off the face of those who doubted your ability in the first place. Instead of sarcastically asking you, how's your trading going? Your relatives will be asking for your help to figure out their own path to the crypto gold rush. Sounds great, doesn't it? But the fact is, right now you're way behind and you have to move fast if you're going to have a chance. So time is of the essence. And I think there's about 10 months left in the greatest bull market any of us will ever see in our lifetimes. And I'll explain why in a few moments. And that's because in crypto bull markets, the really explosive gains happen not at the start, but right at the end in the last life-changing few months. That's right. But you don't have to take it from me because history proves it over and over again. So in the 2014 crypto bull market, 90% of the gains happened in the final frantic month. And in 2017, during an epic run, where Bitcoin went from $123 to 19,600 in a single year, 60% of those profits happened in that final frenzied month. Just right here, just in parabolic. And if you think of all the great bull markets we've seen in our lifetimes in stocks and real estate, those pro traders in the 90s and the early 2000s, they would lose their shit if they had the opportunity for the returns that are available in this market right now. And if you're like me, you're probably baffled by these know-nothing, instant expert, millennial traders who all of a sudden know everything about investing. Bull market geniuses, confusing luck with skill. And if you're an experienced trader, you probably see warning signs and red flags with these new unregulated Wild West markets. But I'm here to tell you today that that's changing fast. And if you wait until these markets are fully regulated and completely safe, you'll miss out on the easy money that's available right now. And you may not be aware that what's happening now isn't even unusual. It's happened over and over again through 5 successive bull markets. In 2011, before anyone had even heard of Bitcoin, it went from a couple of cents to $30 and then back down. In 2013, the same thing happened, a couple of dollars to $230 and then back down. In 2014, it went from about $50 to $1,200 and then back down. And in 2017, it went from $100 to $20,000. Spoiler alert, it went back down. The thing I want you to notice is that each bull market in crypto is always more powerful than the previous one. There's reasons for that, and we're going to discover them today. And today you'll discover why it's a mathematical certainty that this one will eclipse even the 2017 bull run, which saw Bitcoin going from 123 to 19,600 in one incredible year. And as well as that, there's powerful fundamental forces combining to put the afterburners on this already red-hot opportunity. Corporations are finally waking up to the reality that crypto is here to stay. You can buy a Tesla with Bitcoins now. And Tesla is so bullish on Bitcoin, they bought $1.5 billion worth in February. They made $1 billion in profit since then. PayPal just announced you can buy and sell crypto through their Venmo app. And in February, Amazon announced they've been secretly working on their own cryptocurrency. Visa announced an initiative to help banks roll out Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading services later this year. And what this means is that finally you can easily buy and sell your cryptocurrency. And more importantly, you can finally spend it with the biggest retailers. And this is just the first wave from the most innovative companies. There's a huge flood of institutional and corporate money about to hit, and it's already started with MicroStrategy and Tesla, Grayscale, BlackRock, PayPal. And what do you think is going to happen when Apple and Google start putting up? It's coming. It's definitely coming. And if you wait until they're all in, that's when it's going to be too late. Massive money printing by governments, devaluing traditional fiat currencies every day. And crypto assets are the prime beneficiary. We all know that trillions of dollars worth of stimulus have been pumped into the global economy to keep it on life support. Do you think that printing money on such an unprecedented scale won't eventually cause problems? Of course it will, because nothing is free. When you print money, you devalue it, period. And politicians will always print because printing money and throwing money around wins elections. And as the value of traditional currencies is watered down, hard asset prices go up. And we're seeing this all around the world with lumber has gone parabolic, real estate is through the roof everywhere, including Australia. Anything that you can stub your toe on, hard assets are going through the roof, and Bitcoin is the hardest asset of them all. There can only ever be 21 million Bitcoins printed. So it's impossible for Bitcoin's purchasing power to be diluted like the US dollar has been. And as people wake up to the long-term effects of all this stimulus, Bitcoin changes from a really risky fringe asset for nerds to a necessity for wealth protection. And we all know it looked like a shady scam at first. It looked like internet magic bean, meme money. It didn't look legit for a long time. But those days are over, and crypto has grown legit. There is an enormous opportunity in grasping that these assets really are here to stay now, and grasping that before everyone does. If you wait until everyone finally catches on, it's just going to be too late. So on this orange line, we have the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges, and it's expressed as a percentage of the total Bitcoin supply on the left-hand side. So Bitcoin supply from 2015 up until January 20 rose and rose and rose. So there's more and more Bitcoin on the Bitcoin exchanges. Look what happened at the start of this year. Exactly when the price started to go up was exactly when the percent balance on exchanges started to fall. So when people talk about what's causing this bull market, if you're looking for one factor, you strip all the bullshit out of it. This is the big one, because really it's a supply and demand thing. Exchanges, just like a shop running out of stock to sell. They haven't got any more Bitcoins to sell, and people have to compete for those Bitcoins. And at the exact moment where they started running out was the exact moment that this thing started going up. And if you look at this, there's no sign of it ending. The exchanges are still running out of Bitcoin to sell. Now, new Bitcoins coming into the market are produced by miners. That's how it works. And the supply reduces every few years through a mathematical formula, and we call this the halving. Now, I don't want to get technical today, but let me give you the 50 words of this. Someone has to pay for the infrastructure to keep Bitcoin going, keep the lights on. And these people we call miners, and they get paid a reward for keeping the network running. And the reward they get paid for running the Bitcoin network is set by a mathematical formula. And the reward halves every 4 years ago or so. So important to understand that these miners, they're the single biggest selling pressure in the market. They need to constantly sell billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin to pay for the electricity they use to keep the network running. And so what we have here is, this is from the data scientists at Fidelity. This is the halving formula. So you can see in the early days from 2009 to 2011, there was quite a lot of Bitcoin printed. It was very easy to mine Bitcoin back then. And then it got slightly more difficult, slightly more difficult, slightly more difficult, slightly more difficult. And you can see that it becomes, the rewards halved every few years. So by 2029, they'll be under a quarter of what they are now. But the important thing that I want to point out is that when you plot Bitcoin's price through its whole 11-year history against this halving formula, you see how very closely it tracks it, how closely it continues to track it. So if this holds steady, we're on track for $1 million Bitcoins by 2026, 27, which sounds insane. And for sure, there'll be a bear market between now and then. But what we're looking for is an overthrow on the upside at the end of a bull market. So an overthrow somewhere between 100,000 and 1 million as our price target for this bull market, an underthrow, and then an overthrow above $1 million for the next bull market. And there's no guarantees that'll hold still in the future, but that's held so far, and it's been very, very active. This is called the stock to flow model. Now, the exchanges are running out of money. The miners have less Bitcoin to sell. That's the supply side of the equation. So let's talk about the demand. So demand is people buying Bitcoins, and you can see that throughout its life, throughout bear markets and bull markets, people just keep buying Bitcoin. So what that means to me is that Bitcoin is a compelling idea. Like, whatever you think about Bitcoin, it's a hell of a story. People love stories. It's a great story, and now that people can feel that they might miss out if they don't have some, People all around the world are just putting a few bucks in Bitcoin, stashing it away just in case. What if it does become $1 million thing? You know, I sure wish I had some Bitcoins from back in the day, that kind of thing. And this orange line here, this is the number of Bitcoin addresses with money. So you can see that it's continued to go up. It's higher than it was in 2017. And no matter what price does, like when the price started to get a bit shaky a few weeks ago, the adoption of new money into Bitcoin just kept flying up, right? It's not slowing down. This bull market is not slowing down. So what's my point here? We have increasing demand. We have decreasing supply. That's all you need. That's a bull market. Like, how is it not possible for this to kick off a massive bull market? Very, very simple. You've got more buyers. You've got less sellers. That's it. Well, you have the courage to act, because many investors won't. And I don't blame them, because we've all heard horror stories about traders getting wrecked in crypto bear markets, and they're bad. They're really bad. And I've got one of the worst stories you've ever heard. I'm going to tell it to you today. And the whole reason why I developed this system is because I wrecked myself trading altcoins in 2018. Like, it was just very foolish trading. I came in late to the game. I bought 5 Bitcoins off my buddy Lawrence, who had 1,000 Bitcoins he bought for $5 each. And he bought them for $5. I bought them off him for 15,000. I should have known I was being a sucker. And then I bought the Bitcoins about here, maybe a little bit before. And I traded those Bitcoins into altcoins, and I traded those altcoins like a maniac, like technical analysis trading, which I'm good at. And I was up 300% in a month. It was like I was playing and winning. And then I watched frozen like a deer in the headlights while my account declined 90%. And I'll tell you the full story in a bit, but it was all made worse by the fact that I'm supposed to be this big time price action guy. And I totally wrecked myself, and I really felt like a failure as a trader for a long time. And this bled off into me doubting myself, realizing that I wasn't as good at trading as I thought I was. I thought I was really a very, very good beyond expert trader at that stage. And it humbled me, but it led to these really, really incredible discoveries that I'm going to share with you today. So ultimately, it forced me to recognize that crypto asset markets, while they're in the middle of a mania, which is very different, in the middle of the bubble, they're fundamentally different than stock and currency markets. And why? I wasn't prepared for declines of that magnitude. So in stock markets, the biggest decline you ever see is around 50 to 60%. And the coins I eventually held when I stopped trading were supposedly the blue chips, the blue chip altcoins. So Ethereum is supposedly the bluest of the blue chips. It's the second biggest crypto. It was supposed to be the safe choice. And I held it. And it went from $1,400 down to $62. And it wasn't just that it went down like that far. It's that it went down for years and years and years. And it was just an awful time. And like every day you die the death of 1,000 cuts, and you think, oh, it's lost so much money, it doesn't even matter. I'll stop checking it. And it would just keep losing more money and more money and more money. And then right at the end, these declines right at the end, they don't look like much, but these were really significant percentage declines. Like it had already declined 70 or 80%. And then it had declined another 80% from where it was. It was just like, it was a terrible, terrible time. And it didn't make sense to me, and it messed with my head, and it messed with my confidence. And a fundamental belief of mine was that markets are made up of buyers and sellers, and that people are mostly the same, we're all just monkeys. And maybe that's not true, because if it was true, then why did altcoins experience an average 99% decline in 2018? Everyone got wrecked. This is Crypto 20. This is the index of the largest 20 altcoins. Just a terrible thing to hold. Altcoins in 2018 could actually be the worst investment of all time. And when I developed the automated wealth creation engine, I knew that because the limited data set with crypto, I wanted to be certain I was dealing with a strong edge. Like, we don't have 100 years of data here. We have a very short, very small data set. So we needed to do some data mining tricks to make sure that we weren't curve-fitted. We'll get to that. So to eliminate the risk of me building a curve-fitted system that looks great on paper that didn't work in the real world, what I started with was a really battle-tested set of system rules from the stock trading. And what I did is I adapted it for crypto assets in a couple of significant ways, which we're going to cover today. And we've already covered partially in the previous 3 webinars, but we're going to go into much more detail. What I didn't know when I started designing this was that the testing would lead us to discover something completely remote, something I don't even think was possible. And from the information hidden within the blockchain itself, I've discovered how to predict with really, really frightening accuracy the 3 most important aspects of successful crypto investing. Firstly, the exact precise date that the bull market ends. Very important to know. Second, when the bear market ends and it's safe to invest again, also pretty fundamental. And 3, arguably the most important and the most technically difficult, the times when altcoins outperform everything else. And that's what crypto traders call alt season. And in alt season, which we're in right now, everything goes parabolic in a few months. And even though I simplified and streamlined system development by using a really standard form of trading system from the hedge fund and investment banking world, you'll see that our system has something that no other trading system in any other market can do. And that's to tell you to exit your positions at the absolute peak of the mania, which we can already see starting to form. Now, if you know anything about trading or you've traded through the last crypto bull market, you'll know that picking tops is really, really hard to do. And it's something I usually advise people not to even attempt because it's like hitting a hole in one in golf. Like it's not something that happens to normal people. But now, because of the information hidden right in the blockchain, we can reliably tell you when to stop trading, get your money out to cash, drop the mic, walk off a winner at the perfect time. And even better, we can do this every single time. No false positive signals, no hoping and praying that you've timed it right. And when you sell, you can be comfortable that at the exact time that Bitcoin is probably going to be trading somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000 per Bitcoin, and all anyone's talking about is crypto, and it's going to seem like it's going to go on forever, and all your friends and family are calling you and asking you how to get in. Probably, you know, like these past tops here, probably somewhere in the zone between 300 and 500. I'd say 250 to 300 would be a passing grade, and we're looking at that sometime in early 2022. That's the rough roadmap, and I think it's fairly reasonable. You know, 300 to 400K early 2022. So you will be the cool head in a crisis that tells them not to buy the absolute top, and that you're selling now, and that the game's over. It's too late. So let's be clear. I didn't even think this was possible. I thought that the only solution was to wait until the bull market ends and exit on a trailing stop after giving back 30 to 50% of gains. But for reasons you'll soon understand, that wasn't an option with crypto asset systems. Thankfully, the search for a solution brought us to something far, far better, which is what you'll discover today. As well as that, I'll show you a proven system from the stock trading investment to always keep your money constantly in the strongest performing crypto assets. And as well as that, you'll learn how to use a proven, robust system from the stock trading investment world to always keep your, sorry, I repeated that, so that your returns are many times higher than just buying a selection of altcoins and holding onto them. Of course, you can still use this if you want to do your own research, but I've gotten far superior results with no confusion, no stress, and no agitation just by following a simple set of rules that always keeps me invested in the highest performing coins. The upside of this is you don't need to spend endless hours doing research, you don't need to listen to stupid tips, and you don't need to filter the good information from the bad. You don't need to know how the blockchain works. You don't need to understand anything technical. And you don't need to believe. You need to believe this is the future of money, and it actually makes no difference if you think it's all a scam, as long as you just like making a lot of money fast. And this is completely the opposite of everyone in the crypto world and what they're saying. You know, the conventional wisdom is to get on Reddit or Twitter and ask a bunch of your mates And what's going to happen is you're going to get 20 different coin recommendations. You're going to say, buy ADA, buy DOT, buy this, buy that, buy Matic, buy whatever. And the same 5 to 10 names are going to keep popping up. And you're going to end up buying a mix of these in some random amounts. And you're going to fill your bags and you're going to hope. And just like Mad Max said, hope is a mistake. You're going to do your own research, and everyone's going to tell you all these magical reasons why whatever coin, it's the next big coin and it's certain to go 100x. But what they aren't telling you is that there's literally thousands and thousands of coins making those exact same claims. They can't all be the new Bitcoin. And everyone tells you to just hold on for dear life, hodl, and that one magical day you're going to be rich. And that was probably true in 2016, but it's certainly not true now. And the most common strategy by far, and to be fair, it's not too bad, is to pick 5 or 10 coins which have stories that make sense and chart formations that are pretty decent, and cross your fingers and hold, or like the crypto kids say, hold. And that works really, really, really well about 10% of the time. And the rest of the time, it's not good at all. And in a few minutes, you and I are going to dive deep on the data together, and I'll prove to you and show you a far better way that returns far bigger and, more importantly, far more consistent profits. And if you're doing that now, I'm actually not going to tell you that you're wrong or even that you should stop. I'm just saying that I can prove to you that it's suboptimal and that there's a better way. And if you still want to do it the standard way, what I can do for you is help you time a perfect exit to maximize the profits on that strategy as well. Now, I know that when I show you the kind of returns that our inner circle group and I have actually been able to achieve this, and the back test showing breathtaking and consistent performance all the way back as far as you want. I know it's not really relevant to today because, I mean, unless you have a time machine, you can't go back to $50 Bitcoins. And you know, I'm not going to be an idiot and suggest that you can. And I don't want to produce some sort of equity curve showing like 200,000% because we can't go back in time. And sure, I'm thinking some of these newer coins, I'm thinking things like Polkadot, ADA, Luna, Terra, Chainlink, Matic. Like these all still have potential to 100x. But I want to show you a better way to time your holdings in these investments that actually guarantees success instead of making it down to luck. I'm going to show you a way that takes luck completely out of the equation, makes absolutely certain you hold the winning coins, but only in the periods where they actually skyrocket. So let's look at a few examples here. So if we take one popular example, Polkadot, and I think it's fair to say that most people like Polkadot. It's on everyone's list of coins I want to own or do own. Our system first selected it on 8th of January this year. So you can see 2021, our system selected it about here. But before that, it did nothing for a long, long time. In fact, its entire life, it did fuck all. Would you have held through this box? Who would have held through the box? Probably I would have got frustrated and flipped out into something else, personally. But even if you did hold through the box, what you missed was the opportunity cost, because this is that same box of what Bitcoin did in that same time period. Bitcoin went through the roof. And then Polkadot went through the roof. That's how it happens. So by holding DOT while it was doing nothing, you missed out on 400% gains in Bitcoin, which sucks. But you can actually get the best of both worlds here. You can hold Bitcoin while it's going up, and then you can switch out into Polkadot at the exact perfect time to hold it for the couple of months that it really did something amazing. And this isn't a one-off. We can and have already repeated this with just about any popular coin you want to know. All of it, actually. And not once or twice, but dozens of times this year already. Last week too. So if you're thinking about, you know, the current crop of hot coins, ADA, Luna, Matic, Doge, Polkadot, VeChain, we've always held the hot coins. But not for years and years, because when altcoins were doing nothing, we held Bitcoin or Ethereum instead. But for long, long periods, alts did nothing. It was a terrible, terrible time for alt owners because Bitcoin was going up, Ethereum was going up, but alts were doing nothing. And then all of a sudden, they did something. When Bitcoin was outperforming altcoins, we were safely clocking historic profits simply by holding Bitcoin, much simpler. And we only switching out into altcoins at the very perfect time. She'll discover how to do it in a few minutes. Now, can you type in the chat one coin that you know had a massive price rise this year, and we'll check for that. ADA, Theta, Ethereum Classic, XRP. All right, let's go through a couple now. Let's look at some charts. All right, let's look at some coins in the chat. From the top, Andrew was first. Let's look at ADA. So, blue line is Bitcoin, the yellow line is ADA. ADA's done great from about 1st of January this year, but for most of this year, ADA was shit house, going down while Bitcoin was going up. Let's look. Let's add Theta into it. And let's have a look. So Theta is the purple line. Bitcoin's going up, ADA's going down, Theta's going down, Bitcoin's going down, they're all going down. Theta starts going up, Theta's outperforming. Now Theta's gone. You can see Theta kicked off very early. That's a great investment. And now Theta's gone parabolic. Now, what I want to point out to you is that this is not an accident. We get a clue that this performance is going to happen way early on. Let's look at a couple of others. Let's look at Doge, because that's the coin of the moment. Okay, Doge is the bright purple line here. So for most of its life, Doge hasn't been so great. You can see while Theta was making its moonshot, Doge sucked, Doge sucked, Doge sucked, Doge sucked. Doge is still in the shitter. Doge is waking up a little bit. Doge really sucks. Now look at Doge. Once you get a little clue that there is strength in Doge, that strength is statistically likely to continue. And then look at it go. And it's the strongest performing crypto this year. So this isn't just luck, and here's why. And our system held all of those coins, by the way. We've held Doge, every one of those coins, our system has held for brief periods of time this year. And the system switched out of Bitcoins and back into altcoins and into those strong altcoins right at the perfect time to profit. And you might think that during that wonderful alt season where we can earn 500% or more in a few months, that all the coins you can think of went up, and you'd be right about that, actually. Everything goes up. But switching on and then switching off at the exact perfect time to profit. That's not luck at all. Because lasting wealth, that's not just paper wealth that you actually get to keep and pull out. That can't be built on luck. So I've been obsessed, truly obsessed with designing trading systems for the last 10 years. I put my heart and soul into trading, and I put everything I had, I put all my savings, and I had no success at all until I started to trade with the system. So the logical thing for me to do was to learn everything there was about designing trading systems from the best in the world. And at this point, 10 years into full-time system trading, I'm really, really proud of the community we've created. And in an industry where 9 out of 10 people teaching trading are people who failed at trading and teach because they failed at it, it actually thrills me to be showing people how professionals really trade. And the reality of professional trading can be a little bit boring, and it's not at all like what people think. And I like showing you what it's really like. And it thrills me to be completely transparent in the long term, sharing my results, both good and bad, of every one of my thousands of trades. And today I'm going to show you the very simplest, the very most profitable automatic wealth creation engine that you could possibly imagine. The system you'll discover today takes 10 minutes a week to do maximum. I did it yesterday, timed myself 2 minutes, 37 seconds. You do not check or touch it during the week. Don't even look at it, which is actually the hardest part. It stays completely in cash through bear markets. So you're absolutely insulated from these devastating bear market declines. So these red boxes, we switched out to cash here, and then jump back into Bitcoin here. Switched out to cash, just past the feed, switch out to cash here, switched out to cash like on the perfect day here, switch back into Bitcoin at 49.80. That's a good trick. That's the trick of all tricks. And after a bear market, you only buy back once our rules show you that the bear market is over. And we've got very simple and very robust rules showing that. So you buy here, buy back here, buy back here. It's important to understand that our system doesn't hold altcoins all the time, because that's stupid. Most of the time, you're actually better off holding Bitcoin or holding Ethereum, and therefore, that's what our system does. We do not rely on opinions, fundamentals, or technical analysis to help to select our investments. Instead, we're using straight statistics, we're using proven mathematics from battle-tested hedge fund systems, which I'm going to walk you through in a little while. And in fact, the 2014 Nobel Prize for Finance winner, his name's Eugene Fama, and he's the guy who discovered the efficient markets hypothesis. He called this edge an exception to the rule that markets are efficient. And in fact, he called this the premier anomaly in finance. He said, he didn't just say it's an edge you can make money off it. He said it's the premier edge. He said it's the best one in all of finance. And he's right. So let's take a look at just a couple of the coins our system's bought for us this year. So blue is Bitcoin, orange is Polkadot. You can see that Polkadot kind of sucked. And our system bought it, I think, about here from there. Right when Polkadot went through the roof, started to outperform Bitcoin. So the orange line's Polkadot, the blue line's Bitcoin. You can see that Bitcoin outperformed it for most of its life while we held Bitcoin. And then just before the start of the year, it went on a tear. And it's incredibly frustrating to have to hold a coin for several years while you wait to see if eventually it has a big run. And what's going to happen is that you're going to be constantly tempted to sell. And left to your own devices, you probably sell at the exact wrong time. I've done that many times. So let's look at another one. You can see our system bought Alpha on December 23rd last year. Alpha BTC. So this is 2021. So December 23rd is about here. You can see it bought it right here. And Alpha was a terrible investment too, until about here, and then it went through the roof. So we bought it right at the exact time that it went through the roof. Now, what's incredible here, but just normal for this system, is the system selected it just 2 days before it started this incredible run. So you held Bitcoin when it rose from $49.50 to $23,585. You nearly 5x your money on Bitcoin, 500%. And then you switched out your money and your profits. And that's important. You didn't just switch out your money, you 5x your money, and then you took that 5x, doubled down on alpha when it made its moonshot. That's just extraordinary. But this happens again and again. So our coin selection algorithm, and I'll show it to you in a minute, it keeps you in the strongest performing investments, whatever the market throws. When it's best to hold Bitcoin, you just hold Bitcoin. When it's best to hold altcoins, you hold what are mathematically the strongest altcoins. And as soon as we see market top, it effortlessly switches you back to cash. You can start spending your profits. No time-sucking obsession. No Reddit, no Facebook groups, no reading the news, no Googling at all. You check it once a week. And it's not at all like the other ways, which end up turning into a stressful and time-consuming second job. And unlike my other systems, there's zero. I mean zero learning curve. Every one of you could start doing this just as well as me today. And truthfully, I can't say that about my other systems. There's a learning curve. There's no rules to memorize, no videos to watch. This is as close to a fully automated wealth creation solution as I could get while maintaining security and without creating a total honeypot for hackers. I wanted to do it. So you could trade your account with an API, but it was going to be a security nightmare. And if some hacker got in and stole everyone's money, I'd be ruined and couldn't do it. So who is this for? Firstly, it's for those who don't have a crypto portfolio and they're worried that they might end up riding the boom all the way to the top and then back down to the bottom. Secondly, it's for those who already have a crypto portfolio and they're worried about timing their exact exit to maximize profit. And third, it's for those who haven't got in yet, but they're fearful of buying Bitcoin at 60K or more. And they're worried it might be them who's the sucker buying the top and they're holding back. It's a pretty reasonable fear. And so I want to be really clear. By every objective measure, we are nowhere near a top. And I'll cover this in a lot of detail. But just one easy thing that you can do to check is the Google search trends, trends.google.com. You do a search for Bitcoin. And I did it a couple of days ago. And you can see this is the level of searches for Bitcoin back in 2017, and you can see that people still are searching for the word Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin and any Bitcoin-related terms at a far lower rate than they were in the mania of 2017. So what that tells us is interest is high, but it's still lower than it was back in 2017. So at a top, we would expect this to be higher, especially considering how much internet use has increased in the pandemic. So in my opinion, the best model for the eventual top, we don't use it in our systems. I don't predict anything. I've just observed. It's from a blockchain scientist called Willy Woo. It's very highly regarded. I think he's the best one in the game. And this is his model here. It's picked previous tops very well. And he's working towards an eventual top somewhere between 200 and 400K. And, somewhere early in 2022. I think that's about, I know some people are throwing around crazy like $1 million numbers. That might be a little ambitious. I'd be happy with $300,000 Bitcoins February 22. I think that'd be about right. So I've got a quote here from my friend Michael Merle, who's a very beyond expert quant trader. And he says, when Scott told me he was building a crypto system, I knew I wanted to be involved right from the start. Scott and I have collaborated successfully on trading systems several times before. And when he explained the idea, I knew it was the basis for an incredibly profitable system that would be easy to execute. And this suits me perfectly because I'm a full-time algo trader and I don't need another extra job. And his name is Michael Merle. He's a semi-famous quant trader. And I've got another friend who's a good trader who I know, and he's been dabbling with it too. And he says that in my investment banking career, I had exposure to several systematic momentum traders who impressed me. He didn't even follow the system perfectly. He picked and chose a few different coins here and there, but it didn't matter. I've turned $4,000 into $39,586 in a few months, and I'm a believer now. What I didn't appreciate is how much easier on the emotions trading with the system is. When Bitcoin hit 40,000, I was very tempted to take profits. But instead, I just followed the system. In the next 2 weeks, I painted very solid returns. It's She hands you up. And I'm Scott Phillips, and most of you know me from trading my other trading systems or from being on my email list. And I am a professional trader, and I'm not a trading educator, and I generally hate those guys. And I've been a full-time trader since 2007. I've been profitable after some stumbles since 2011. It took me 4 years to get profitable. And I had my best year ever in 2020. And thanks to crypto, I've already earned more than 2020 and 2021 so far. And it's all thanks to this system you'll discover today. And I'm best known for my work building trading systems. And I know many of you watching this already trade my scalping system successfully. That system was designed specifically to produce a consistent and stable income, whereas this system is very different. This is not designed to produce a consistent and stable income. This system you'll discover today is designed specifically for rapid wealth creation. It's a wild ride. It's not steady as she goes. It's a wild ride. It's designed to take a small amount of money and turn it into an incredibly large sum of money quickly and safely, get you out with all your profits intact. How? Well, it's pretty simple. We trade only during the bull market phases. And why? Because cryptocurrency bull markets are orders of magnitude stronger than traditional markets. We can take full advantage of that inherent difference. Guys, I'm just going to take a break and grab a toilet break. I will be back in 2 minutes. Thanks for holding. All right, everyone can hear me now? All right. Cryptocurrency bull markets, they're orders of magnitude stronger than traditional markets. And what we want to do is take full advantage of that difference. So in these bear markets, the system has us safely in cash within a week of every single market top. So the 2013 top, actually it was the other side of this, but it was the same spot. We got out right here, went to cash. Didn't trade any of this. 2017 top was the exact day. That was a bit lucky. And I'd actually looked down on cryptocurrency traders and cryptocurrency as a whole right up until the end of the 2017 bull market. And I had about 10 Bitcoins from way back in the day when they were only a few bucks. So I bought them and I kind of forgotten about them. And I was kind of pleased when crypto started going up. It was past $1,000 or whatever, but it was like 10 grand and I had a big account. So it just wasn't I was happy for the people who had crypto, but just wasn't a big deal to me. I didn't care much. I knew nothing about altcoins. And my whole attitude back then was I'm a real pro trader. I'm a futures trader. Futures is the most difficult market. I'm doing the most difficult thing. And I do real markets. I don't do these weird tinker toy hobby nerd markets that are unregulated for weird nerds. And I had these two great mates, I still have these two great mates who are complete crypto maniacs, like full on. And they're always asking me for opinions about charts, and I give them an opinion. And one of these guys started, I didn't know anything about altcoins. They started sending me real estate they were shopping for. And one of these guys sent me a photo of the yacht that he just bought, and he built this beachfront mansion. And I'm like, these guys are bums. They're on the bones of their ass. And they're like, all of a sudden, like in the space of a few months, they're like, I'm shopping for yachts now. And then I got interested, but I got interested too late. And so what happened was that I bought 5 Bitcoins off my buddy Lawrence for around 15,000 each. I think it was a bit less than that actually. And I started trading them into altcoins, in and out of altcoins every single day. Like sometimes day trading, mostly swing trading, holding for a couple of days. And it was the super strong blow off top phase at the end of 2017. And I turned my 5 Bitcoins and I put them on a Trezor USB stick and pulled that out. They're still untouched. The battery's gone flat on my Trezor, and I'm assuming these Bitcoins are still in here if I put another battery in. And in my mind, I'm safe because I've got my money back. I got my 5 Bitcoins back. And I was reading the charts and I'm playing and winning, and I had 20 from 23 winning trades. And it felt like this is so easy, and what the hell am I doing trading futures? And futures you get like 55% win rates, right? And crypto's running at 90% win rate. And I made more money in 2 months off a small account than I did last year off my big account. And I remember the exact moment I'm thinking, wow, I should stop trading futures and just do this instead. And that exact day, that time, that, like, I think it was like that hour was the exact top. Fucking Lambos. And at that point, I had 8 consecutive losing trades in a week. And my account was only down 25% in Bitcoin terms. But in that week, Bitcoin had gone from 19,600 to about 10,000. And all of a sudden it hit me that I'm down like 62% in a week. How the fuck did this happen to me? Like, I'm a professional. I don't go down 62% in a week. And it just happened to me. And for me, it was coming back off these few years. Like, I had a few years from 2014 to 2017 where I'd really got my trading shit together. Like, I was trading fully systematically, and I was trading good systems, and I was trading perfectly. And I'd taken my accounts from like small accounts to a few million, and it seemed like all I do is win. And I'd really thought that I had this all locked down, and I was a good trader, and I was going to go on to making tens of millions. And I get totally fucked through my own arrogance and greed. And it broke the spell. It like broke the spell that all I do is win here. And like, this is a serious game. And no matter how long you've been doing it, there's serious sharks in these waters. And everyone really is trying to take your money. And I was expecting maybe a 70% decline in a bear market. And I was already down over 60%. So I thought, fuck it, I'll just stop actively trading. I'll leave my money in the coins I actively liked and believed in. And I'll hold on like the great unwashed idiots. And that seemed to be what everyone was doing. That's what my crypto buddies were doing too. And those coins I really believed in, they were Ethereum, they were ICX, they were OMG, they were NEO, and they were TRX. And here they are. And this was the top. And they went down and then bounced a little. And they all went straight to the shitter. And it just did not stop. This is like years and years and years of painful butthurt. This was not a good thing. And the exact opposite of what happened in the bull market, where the rising tide floated every boat, it happened in the bear market, and everything lost, and didn't just lose, kept losing. And not just for a few months, for years and years. And these 5 Bitcoins I got out for safety, that was a stupid idea too. They went down 82%. Took out my 5 Bitcoins here. Still makes me feel like crying. You know, the thing that literally every crypto trader I knew did, you know, do your own research and hold on for dear life. That did not fucking work for me or anyone else in 2017. And every motherfucker's telling you to do it again now, despite the fact that it failed miserably the last time. Why? Because the coins that looked the best in the last bull market mostly look terrible now. So let's look at a couple. So I don't think anyone would dispute that ZRX was one of the most promising, best-liked coins in 2017. It had a real use case. It had serious developers. It was like a tech darling thing. And it went through the roof in 2017. And here we are in 2021. It's going great. But it's still below its 2017 price. So in a month, it went from 16 cents to $2.32. It went 14x in a month. And then over a period of years, it declined back to 13 cents. Still hasn't recovered. So you hold one of these turds rolled in glitter all the way through. It's both a double whammy. So you still haven't got your money back 5 years later. But in the meantime, You've seen everything move. You've seen Polkadot, Matic, pick any DeFi coin randomly off a list, Chainlink, Uni, Sushi, anything you can think of, PooCoin, Rocket Coin, all those fucking bags of shit. They've all completely outperformed in everything you've done. You've got none of those gains because your money's tied up in one of these underperforming legacy shit coins that just tied up your capital for 5 fucking years. You're still waiting in 2021 to get your 2017 investment back. Imagine being in crypto since 2017 and still not making any money. So let's look at a couple more from the chat. Anyone got another particular favorite shitcoin from 2017? In the chat, guys, if you want me to go through a couple. Osina, whatever the hell that is. Let's have a look. Ocean. Is that a new coin or is it an old one? Let's see if we can get a chart that brings up metrics. Let's see how far back it goes. No, Ocean wasn't around back then, so Ocean's done pretty well this year. Okay, Michael says Neo, OMG, and Litecoin. Let's have a look at those. And BCN. Okay, let's look at Neo. So Neo's doing great right now. Is it really doing great? Look, 2017, it got to $200. 5 years later, where are we now? It's $105. Was it $200? OMG USD. Same deal. What do we get to? $25. It's at $10 now. Simon Spore, ECN. Oh God, that's hideous, son. Oh, you done fucked up a long time ago, son. So here's where you are. Here's where you were. Gary, EOS. Same deal. We'll do one more. Litecoin from Shane, and then we'll move on. Litecoin's just broke out. Good on you, Litecoin. Actually, anything that breaks to all-time highs that escapes this selling pressure is probably a pretty good coin now. As weird as it sounds, Litecoin's probably going up. So it's important to understand that these coins will never outperform the newer coins because of human nature. And why? Because people like to hold until they get their money back. It's human nature as we feel like idiots when we sell at a loss. So we'll naturally avoid selling at a loss and wait until it comes good. But because of that, there's built-in selling pressure all the way up. So what happens is that these newer coins, without that old bag holder selling pressure, they start to shoot away and people sell their legacy shit coins, get on the newer things, and then there's even more selling pressure on the shit coins and even more buying pressure on the newer things. And it's all because of human nature, because we just want to hold until we get our money back because we don't like feeling stupid about this stuff. So the hot coins from the last bull market will always underperform in the next one. And that's going to happen to you too, unless you smarten up and embrace a better way. And this isn't unique to crypto. This is observable in every single stock bull market for the last 100 years with no exceptions. So what was the hot stock in the year 2000? It was fucking Cisco Networks. That was it. And in the following bull market in 2007, it was not the hot stock. The hot stocks were mining stocks. I don't know if you remember, but BHP, Rio Tinto, those were the things everyone wanted to own in 27. And where are they now? They're nowhere. They're in the shitter. And the current market leaders, you know, Facebook, Amazon, Google, Netflix, blah, 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 they actually underperformed in the 2007 bull market. So I call this the generals fighting the last war fallacy. It's unreasonable to expect what works in one bull market to still work in the next. And we're seeing it in crypto now. It's the popular cryptos that everyone likes, like Polkadot, Matic, Terra, Luna, Chainlink, all the DeFi stuff. None of that was a blip on the radar in 2017. And just like Facebook, Netflix, and Tesla weren't the hot tech stocks of the 2000 dot-com bubble either. So in my opinion, that standard advice to just hodl on, that's worked great for Bitcoin, obviously, but it's terrible for alts, and it always will be terrible advice for alts. And this adoption of the just hold on mantra, because people don't know any better, has been the cause of endless suffering and huge losses. And that's what we have the technology to avoid. And so here I was, having torn up a pile of money, become the exact idiot that I'm always making fun of on my email list, made me feel like a fraud. And it made me feel like a fake ass pretend guru who was only teaching people to trade while I lose money myself. It was really very unpleasant feeling. I felt like a right twat because I was a right twat. And I nearly gave up selling my trading systems, and I stopped emailing the list for a while. And it was a really dark time for me, and it bled over into other areas of my life too. You know, my other trading suffered, my marriage suffered, I got fat again. I felt like a loser. I felt like someone who's failing at this. And it was really, really hard to snap out of it. And I remembered one of my first trading mentors, Al Brooks. He told me, if you didn't make money, it's probably because you aren't good enough. I fucking love that guy. If you didn't make money, it's probably because you aren't good enough. And clearly, I wasn't good enough. The stuff that worked in real markets didn't work at all in crypto. I'd gotten caught up in the madness of the crowd like a day one newbie, and at this point, it was my 10th year of full-time trading. And so I started a pretty serious soul-searching effort. I was trying to get some clarity around what had gone wrong, and as usual, I'm trying to figure out how I can use this defeat to power a future victory. And like I've been many times in my life, close to defeat, I rose to my feet. And in that moment, I became determined to master these new markets. I became determined to redeem myself. I became determined to make a shit ton of money for everyone in the process. And obviously what first came to mind is that the way I was trading, you know, I was just finding coins I liked with a good story, with charts I liked. And that's the exact opposite of what I usually tell people to do, right? And more than that, it's something that I've failed at personally most times that I've tried. So it was pretty clear to me that when the market was going crazy right at the top, I was going to be as caught up in it as anyone. And I was probably going to turn into an idiot like everyone else does when they start making a pile of money. And I needed a system, obviously. And the only question was what kind of system? And the one type of system that really stood out from all the others for this, and that's momentum systems. And I'd previously been paid to design a type of system called a momentum system for a stock trader. And the results were really amazing. And I never traded it myself. I got paid to design it for someone else. And it outperformed everything else in a bull market. That's what it's designed to do. And more importantly, the rules of the system made it sit out bear markets in cash. So this is the equity curve for it. And it's weird to see the scale because it's gone up so much, but the red line is the S&P 500. And it was trading S&P 500 stocks. You can see it flatlined in 2008, didn't go down. It's just sat in cash, like our system sits in cash. And it did 2006% in 15 years in the stock market. And stocks are a slow moving, boring type market. And this system, we called it the Standard Momentum System 2.0. Some of you own it. It's performed incredibly well for many years. It crushed it this year. And it's sold as part of the system building masterclass I built, which many of you own. And seeing I was designing a system specifically to take advantage of a historic bull market in crypto assets, this one was the obvious choice. And it had many other advantages. Since I was just tweaking a really standard type of hedge fund system, and I was building something that I'd already done, a huge amount of work, there was very little risk that it wasn't going to work. And what this did is it gave me the confidence to start real money trading far earlier than I would normally do. And it gave me, and I could get the real world data to optimize this into a truly incredible wealth creation engine. So the standard strategy that virtually everyone tells you to invest with is fatally flawed. And the normal idea is that you go on YouTube, you follow a bunch of traders who sound like they're full of shit. You go on Reddit or you ask your Facebook friends which coins should you buy, and then you buy the ones you like and you hold them. That's the standard advice. This is going to send you broke. And the real cause of the problem is that holding on for dear life works great with Bitcoin and it sucks for altcoins. The idea that you buy and you never sell and you hold through bear markets and everything's going to work out in the end like a horror movie with a happy ending. You can see this is perfect for Bitcoin. It doesn't matter where you buy. You bought in the bull market, it comes good. You bought in the bull market, it comes good. It doesn't matter where you buy with Bitcoin, it's coming good. Is it true with other coins? Let's test for ourselves and see if it holds through with altcoins. So I think we've probably done enough looking at other coins, but let's quickly look at things like NEO, OMG, ICX, TRX, ZRX. I think we've done enough of this. We don't need to do more. So OMG would have still lost money holding from the original listing. TRX is below the 2017 highs. NEO's had a great run, but it's still below 2017 prices. And in the vast majority of cases, even the blue chip altcoins are today, right now, trading far below what you could have picked them up for in 2017. So if that's you, just holding on like they tell you to, you sat through a bear market that wiped out 90 or 95% of your paper gains. And then to add insult to injury, your coins have gone up, but they've gone up slower than the popular coins of today, like the Polkadot, Terra, Matic, Uni, Sushi, and the DeFi coins. So everyone knows you own a big crypto portfolio and they're congratulating you on being part of that. But really, you're only just making back part of the losses you've sustained over the last 5 brutal years. So in the chat now, who thinks that holding altcoins through a bear market is a good idea or a bad idea? Bad. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from today, it's that. Holding altcoins is wonderful in a bull market and just the worst idea in the world in a bear market. Bad, altcoin bad. So you might be expecting some kind of fancy technical analysis from me, considering I'm best known for that. And most of the other systems I have use price patterns. But the system I created doesn't use any of that, doesn't use any technical analysis at all. It uses maths and it uses statistics. Another problem we face is that you have to wade through a literal mountain of disinformation opinions to find out what are the good coins. So I got someone in the chat says that holding apart from ETH bad. Well, ETH went from $1,400 down to 62 last time. How does that not suck? Like that's the very definition of a bad investment. I held ETH because I thought that too. Like I thought, oh fuck, I'm not holding any of these shit coins. I hold the good ones like ETH, like NEO. Didn't help me. Why is that not going to happen again? Another problem we face is that you have to wade through a literal mountain of disinformation and opinions to find out what the good coins are. And it's expected of you that you brag about your choices as though they were a football team. You know, I love ETH. I'm an ETH fan. You know, I'm a whatever guy like the XRP Army, Mark Stone, which leads you to falling in love with your investment. And falling in love with your investment leads you to not wanting to sell at the right time. I'm going to show you a better way. There are many, many highly successful multi-billion-dollar hedge funds called momentum funds, which don't rely on opinions at all, just pure statistics. And as well as that, there's about 300 billion with a B of hedge fund money and about the same from investment banks. There is currently over 30 momentum ETFs traded in the US line. And the biggest of them is MTUM, and there's a few others, but there's like 30 momentum ETFs. And I'd like you to compare the performance of the biggest momentum ETF, which is MTUM, against the performance of the index ETF, the S&P 500. And you can see that every time we have a bull market, momentum outperforms. Not in a bear market, but in a bull market, momentum just streaks away. And that's what we're trying to do with our momentum system. Bitcoin is the market. Our goal for the system is to outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin does good, we do better. That's what we do. We're not trying to get fancy. We're not trying to pick the coin that's the future of money. We're trying to beat Bitcoin. Is that hard to do? Not really. So you can see that beating the stock market with a momentum system isn't just easy, it's trivial. And it's even easier to beat the crypto market using the exact same strategy. You can see our system versus Bitcoin has drastically outperformed it in 2021. And as well as that, there's this incredible body of academic research proving that not only is the momentum effect real, but it also makes logical sense. So it's based on human nature, that everyone loves a winner, that the coins that start to win will attract more buyers and less sellers, and thus continue to go up faster. It's just human nature. And human nature is not going to change. It hasn't changed for thousands of years. And let's be clear about the real problem crypto traders face. In bear markets, everything goes down. Like the guy in the chat who loves his Ethereum won't sell it because it's at $4,000 now. Loving it isn't a guarantee that it's going to save you when this market's over. It might go to 20,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 20,000. But when it goes down, it's going to go down like a tie hooker, and you can take that to the bank. Everything goes down. Let's be real about the real problem crypto traders face. All goes down, and even the highest quality assets. Ethereum's going to go down 90%. Bitcoin's going to go down 80%. They always do. There's no exceptions. There's nowhere to hide. And this might be okay if you put a few $1,000s in for a laugh. Like it's okay if your mate at the pub told you about this little shit coin and you put $1,000 on it and now you've got 100 grand. Like that's fine. But you can't invest millions of dollars that way. It's insane. It's not professional grade. And the real solution is to only trade during bull markets. If you love your Ethereum, ride it all the way up to 20,000, cash out, walk off, keep it all. Much better idea. Like now. So let's face it, with the market the way it is right now, any monkey can make a lot of money. Anyone can. Some of the dumbest people I know are making all kinds of money. And just getting on YouTube and researching a few coins isn't too bad while the going's good. But to state the obvious, if you can't handle crypto at its worst, you don't deserve it at its best. So how exactly do you stop trading in bear markets? So traditionally, momentum system designers would use something simple like a long-term moving average crossover or moving average and switch the system off and on and go back to cash in a bear market. But this doesn't work in crypto because they move for two reasons. First of all, they move so fast. And second, they make all of the gains in the last little bit. So by the time you switch back off, you're giving back 50, 60% worth of profit. You're just giving back way too much too quickly. It's just not a very good solution at all. So there's a better way, and it's unique to crypto assets. You can't do it in real markets. It's actually what makes them the superior market now for wealth generation. And when I figured this out, I finally knew we're all going to make a lot of money. And let me explain. So every transaction has a date and a time. So unlike every other market, when you buy a Bitcoin or you buy an Ethereum, it goes on the blockchain. I bought this address, bought this many coins at this time. And that's permanent. That cannot be changed. It can't be edited. No one can log in with a master password and move that around. So unlike every other market, I can work out when you bought your Bitcoins. If I know you bought your Bitcoins in 2011, I know you paid $2 for them, right? And I can make a rough guess as to what you paid for them with a little bit of data crunching, which isn't difficult. And then I know how much profit you have. And that's critical. So I know how much you've cashed out, how much profit you've banked, and I know how much paper profit you have as a percentage of your total roll. So for example, if you bought Bitcoin in 2015 for $1,000 and it's 50,000 today, I know you have a 98% profit. And I know that the more unbanked profit that you have, the more stressful it becomes and the more wild your emotions get. And it becomes very stressful. And I've experienced that myself, and most of you have too. And the higher the market goes, the more tempting it is to start selling and cash out some of those paper profits. And so the way it works is when you've got an extreme amount of paper profit, when things start falling, you think, oh, fuck, I'm going to lose it all. And so you immediately rush to sell. And we know it's not possible to get to 100% or beyond of paper profit. So we have a maximum threshold. And when we do a little bit of data mining, we can see the exact point where in all the other bull markets, they've finally fallen apart under the weight of their own Titanic bullshit. And so on the left here, I've got a scale of the percentage of unbanked profits on average. And it never so this is the 2017 top, for example. And what we're looking for very specifically is we're looking for unbanked, this is the unbanked profit lines. We're looking for it to get above 75% and then fall. And the falling is important because what the falling tells us is that people aren't still buying, they're starting to sell. So why does this work? It works because at the very last stage of the move, we're in strong emotions. We're panicking. We're like reloading the charts 20 times a day. We're in real panic. And I couldn't tell what any of you had for breakfast this morning, but if I lock all of you in a burning room, I know I can predict with high accuracy what you're going to do. And so in a panic situation, when people are panicking and they start selling, and the doors out of the market are very small, because it's a pain in the ass to get your money out of crypto into real money, I can predict with high reliability that selling pressure is like a little pebble that's going to start an avalanche. And then the selling pressure is going to drive the market down, and people are going to think, oh, fuck, it's over, I got to sell, quick fuck, sell, fuck. And that selling is going to take over and cause a wave of selling. Now, this is highly reliable human behavior. And there's a whole industry that's grown up around what's called on-chain metrics, where you use the data encoded on the blockchain to get a hyper-accurate picture of what buyers and sellers are doing. And my programming dream team, they've been able to get that data, process it into an overall greed index. And we've done that for both Bitcoin and altcoins. And the altcoin part is really cool. Now, what's really interesting is that a universal constant in any market is that people are incredibly greedy at market tops and incredibly fearful at market bottoms. And you shouldn't just take my word for it. Did any of you buy Bitcoin when it was $3,000 in the bear market? Anyone? Enter in the chat if you did. I didn't. I didn't have the balls for it, honestly. Ian did. Good on you, man. Chris did. A couple of big balls, guys. 4K. Nicely done, Zach. Good for you, bro. So did any of you sell your Bitcoins at 19.5 in the last bull market? Any of you think that was the top? Like let's sell them now. I didn't. Nope. Good on your wags. Ronan, fuck no. Brett, no, not at all. So I didn't. And why didn't I sell my Bitcoins at 19,000 in the last bull market? Because I was too greedy. And I couldn't have been more optimistic than at the absolute top. And I was having a great time too. It was super fun trading. And there's a couple of guys who are that good in the chat, but no one I know is that good. Steve, I was asleep at the wheel. So did any of you buy stocks in 2008 in the worst phase of the GFC, and which was actually the best buying opportunity in the last 100 years for stocks? Anyone buy there? Yes, a couple of them. Had no cash. I had no cash then either. No. And if you did, it would have been a tremendously frightening thing to buy there. It looked like the world was ending. Or in the Corona crash in February last year, which is an incredible buying opportunity. My buddy Jihan bought right there. I thought he was crazy. Bought just before cash, Jack, burned me good. So has there ever been a true bull market that didn't end up with everyone absolutely insane with greed? You know, I'm talking real estate in 07, talking dot-com bubble, I'm talking silver in 2011, Bitcoin in 17, any market anywhere that didn't end with everyone just frenzied with greed. A bull market that didn't end on what Greenspan calls irrational enthusiasm. And that irrational enthusiasm is what we're looking for. We're looking to quantify what is irrational enthusiasm, put a number around it, measure it, and when we clock it, we're looking to go to cash. So you can read stories going back hundreds of years, and in the tulip bubble, which is probably the closest analogy, people were absolutely convinced that a single tulip bulb was worth more than a house in Amsterdam. And Dan, that's a human constant, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's why this stuff works. It's because we've got this 100,000-year-old caveman software running our brains. That's just totally unsuited for any of this. And Justin says it's bizarre watching it happen over and over again and people convincing themselves otherwise. Delirium. Moving on, has there ever been a bear market that didn't end in absolute fear and pessimism? I mean, I bet you hated real estate in 08. I bet you hated stocks in 09. I bet if you did buy more Bitcoins at 3,000, it was an ass-puckering exercise. And no, I didn't either. I don't have the balls for that. And it doesn't matter how smart you are or how much you know. It's just emotionally very difficult to buy when everyone else is panicking and sell when everyone else is buying. And that's because we're social animals. It's because we really are monkeys. We are a slightly smarter than usual species of monkeys. And it's baked in. This is an essential part of our human nature. It's an essential part of our DNA. So my question for you is, if we could figure out how to objectively measure the greed and the fear of investors, could you use that to time market tops with frightening accuracy? So what I did here is I found this forgotten old academic paper by one of the original Bitcoin guys. And he suggested a way of objectively measuring Bitcoin sentiment was by answering the hypothetical question: if all Bitcoin holders sold out today, how much money would be made and lost? And he divided that by the market cap of Bitcoin, which is the sum of all Bitcoins at current market value. And we get one number to rule them all. We get the greed index, which is the foundation of everything we're going to do today. And it makes logical sense. It's worked perfectly for 10 straight years. It's caught both every single top and every single bottom. So right in these early days, like the 2011 top, you can see it caught the top. We got above 75% and then fell. And then the bottom, people lost all their money and then came back good. Caught the second top, this one here. These don't look big, but on the hard right edge of the chart, these were big deals. Caught this one, caught this one, caught the bottom, caught the top in 2017, caught the bottom in 2019. Put the bottom here. So this is revolutionary and game-changing. And you don't have to sit through 90% declines. You just don't. You switch out to cash when the greed index tops, and you get back into Bitcoins when the greed index goes negative and then turns positive. That's how it works. And you don't need to know how any of this works to actually use it. You just have to read the weekly alerts. So this happens on a Monday. You get the alerts, like some of you have already been trading along. You get the alerts on a Monday, you do the thing and the stuff. So in this way, we solve the major problem that crypto investors have faced since the beginning. The big swings up and down mean that for most serious investors, the ride is too wild. You can't bet your retirement money on something that's such a roller coaster. But now you know with ironclad certainty that you're going to sit out bear markets in cash. This once risky investment becomes perfectly safe. Now, this isn't some fancy bit of curve-fitted statistics manipulation that fails in the real world. And here's why. So we absolutely know that these type of bull markets never end just because they're overvalued. Probably overvalued now. They only end when all the buyers are bought and there's no more greater fools to drive the price up. And now, with the greed index, we finally have the tool to objectively measure exactly when buyers are all in. So this is based on fundamentals of markets and human nature, and in the 10-year life of Bitcoin, it's never failed to work. So let's not gloss over this before we start diving deep on momentum systems, and I explain the nuts and bolts of how everything works in a practical sense. Let's look at the last few market tops in detail, and let's see how it worked in the real world. So you might not even remember, but in 2014, Bitcoin had an early bubble where it spiked over $1,000 for the first time, and that was a high that would stand for many, many years. So our system switched off at December 6, 2013 at $1,035 per Bitcoin, just 6 days past the $11,004 peak that stood until December 2017. Not December 2017, early 2017. Bought back in July 10, 2015. So it sold everything, went to cash, or back in here. Beauty. And in 2017, maxed out December 19, 2017, when Bitcoin was at 18,940, only 1 day after the peak price of 19,600. Kept us out until April 2nd, 2019, where it brought us back in for 4,990 here. Not a bad buy. Not the low. Didn't try and time the lows. Waited till the bear market was over. Now, I hope you can see that this is like having X-ray vision on the market. And in other markets, we've never been able to get such an accurate picture before. And for the first time ever, you can benefit from the proven exponential potential of crypto markets without suffering through long, humiliating, and costly bear markets. So at this point, it's going to give you the best and most complete explanation. If I explain the development process, what I did, what changes I made along the way, and let's try and be really transparent about this. So it's my goal here to give you enough information today that you can easily replicate my own work, modify it and build your own system, or you can simply use the automated solution I built for myself, which I'll be showing you later on in the presentation. Lee, what country are you in? It's different for every country. I started off with a very bog standard momentum system and then gradually optimized it, traded it with real money. And then I tested my assumptions by running out of sample data to avoid the risk of curve fitting. I ran into some problems on the way, which we turned into massive positives, which I think you'll be really surprised by. The best place to start is with an understanding of what momentum systems are and how they work. Now that you understand how we only invest while we're actually in a bull market, I'd like to dive deep on momentum and show you how we put everything together into a simple set of automated rules. And I'll talk you through the development process and show you why the finished system is far better than the system I've just used to make over $1 million this year. Momentum systems work with a really simple 3-step process. Step 1, you check your trend filter. You only buy coins when you're in a bull market. So the first question we always ask is, are we in a bull market? Don't do anything if you're not in a bull market. So you don't trade in any of those bad periods at all. You sit safely in cash while those around you are losing their minds. And it might not be obvious, but the real effect of being in cash for bear markets is that your equity curve doesn't go up and then down and then you make it back. It just flatlines and then you get back to winning. And to me, as a professional trader, an equity curve like this is the most beautiful thing a trader can see. And I'd much rather see this with a smaller profit than some normal equity curve with a bigger profit, because this cuts every shitty part of the investing experience out. This is all the things that I like, making money, and all the things I hate, losing money. So, and I'm not going to tell you that investing in cryptos is all blowjobs and chocolate every single day. You experience large single-day equity swings. Like you can expect to be sloshing around 20, 30% on some days. But with this method, you never get to experience any of the soul-sucking terror of watching your net wealth decline day after day after day for years and years and years. You will have shitty weeks. Guarantee you're going to have some shitty weeks here and there, but you won't have shitty years. And it's that simple. And you never get to be the guy at Christmas dinner who told all his family to put their money into Bitcoin when it was 19,000, and he looks like an idiot, and every Christmas dinner they give him shit about it. And this actually happened to several of my friends who put their family into Bitcoin at the peak of the mania. And step 2, so step 1, are we in a bull market? Step 2, we rank our coins according to statistical strength. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. It's very simple maths. You can do it with Excel, you can do it with Google Sheets, and you hold only the strongest performing coins. And so step 3 is, how does it work? Once a week on a Monday, doesn't matter which day actually, every day works just fine. We just choose Monday for reasons. You check the ranking list of coins again. You sell anything that's no longer in your strongest coin list, and you replace anything you sell with a new coin from your list, starting at the top, buying the strongest coins until you run out of money. That's all you do. Every week, I want to hold the 5 strongest coins. If one of my coins drops out, I replace it with a new strongest coin. Stupid simple, right? Very simple. Why Monday? All days were very similar, except weekends were slightly worse, Jeffrey. And I like Monday because it would be hard to forget. Monday is not the best day. Monday is the day that was hard to forget for me. I think I can remember if I would. Thursday was the best day, but if I made it Thursday, then some days I'd forget and I'd be doing it Friday morning and I'd be an idiot. And diverse is the capital be equally weighted, and will even allocation, and we'll cover why in a minute. So we need a way of ranking coins that doesn't rely on opinions or technical analysis or anything where your ideas might be different than mine. So the tried and tested way for stock systems is to use the slope of a 90-day linear regression. And a linear regression line is a statistical mathematical thing. It's not a technical analysis chart trend line thing where you draw the line that fits the best. It looks like this. So here's our linear regression line. And you can see here with Polkadot, it's nearly flat. And while I'm writing this, the slope of FTT, which was our top pick the week that I wrote this, was much steeper. So a steeper slope means that it's a stronger coin. So objectively, FTT is a better buy than Polkadot was. Got that? That's how we do it. So all we do is rank the coins according to how steep the slope of the line is. We buy the strongest ones. And the race isn't always to the swift and the battle isn't always to the strong, but that's sure the way to bet. So this is the absolute opposite of trying to research and predict the future about which coin has the best idea or the best technology for the reasons we've already discussed. It's a simple statement of fact. It's not a prediction, it's a statement of fact. This week, these are the 5 strongest coins. They might not be the 5 strongest next week, but the odds are they'll do pretty well. And we aren't going for perfection here. I'm not trying to predict that a 20-cent coin is going to $50. That's really, really difficult. I think it's impossible. But I can predict with a reasonable degree of accuracy that a coin, which has been the strongest for the last 7 weeks, will probably continue to do pretty well, because that's an observation we can test and we know that it holds true. And not only can we test and show that it holds true, we can show that it holds equally true across every different exchange and every different data set. And we've tested on Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, Bittrex, CoinSpot, KuCoin, and it doesn't matter which data set we plug it into. It appears the edge is very real. And it gives us an objective measure that doesn't rely on, I like this coin and I hate that coin. And Mark, yes, we normalize the slope. We do a log return on that. So it's a percentage of the coin price. Good point. Which saves you endless confusion, stress. You don't have to do heaps of research and you don't have to lie awake at night worrying if you got it wrong. Because when a crypto starts going up faster than the others, it's statistically likely to continue to move up faster in the future. We brag about it to our friends. We brag about it on social media. This attracts more buyers, which drives the price up further. Price going up further attracts more buyers in a positive feedback loop. That's how it works. And we are not logical when it comes to investments. We keep the things we love and we sell the things we hate. And everything that's making you a lot of money becomes an investment you love, and you don't want to sell it because it's making you a lot of money. You know, you hold Ethereum or Ethereum Classic. We held Ethereum Classic last week. We still hold it. And I got messages from guys who don't want to sell their Ethereum Classic because they fucking love Ethereum Classic now because it's made them so much money last week. It's still a shit coin, you know, but we love it all of a sudden because it's going up. And when less people sell it, the price goes up even faster. And this has been observable in stocks for several hundred years now. It's the basis for $300 billion of investments in the stock market. And there's a famous hedge fund trader called Klenov, good guy. He's a hedge fund momentum trader. He says, what makes the momentum effect comfortable to rely on is that not only has it worked very well in the past, but also that it makes logical sense. It's a phenomenon in the market which is not likely to go away because it's part of basic human nature. Everyone likes a winner. And I think that's very, very true. So when I started developing the system, what I did is I had a program spit out the results from different ranking methodologies so we could test them. And we know from the stock market that the optimal ranking methodology for stocks, literally every stock algo uses the same damn one, is to use a 90-day regression line, excluding the most recent 30 days, because there's a mean reversion effect in stocks in the short term. So I started out with a program we wrote. You guys, a lot of you guys are going to recognize this because we used it all year. We spit out a bunch of different ranking methodologies. We tested 120 days, we tested 90 days excluding 30, we tested 60 days excluding the most recent 20, and we tested 45 days excluding the most recent 15. And we measured the performance and in various time frames. And we did this for all the coins on Binance that were big enough to trade inside. So we excluded the tiny little shit coins. And I manually imported that data every week into a spreadsheet. We did it all on a live Zoom call every week. There's a bunch of people who watched us and traded along every week. And so what you'd expect is that crypto moves faster than the stock market, so a shorter ranking period would work better. And that's exactly what we found. So the first 3 months I was trading this, we used 45 days, excluding the most recent 15 days as a linear regression line. And eventually in final optimization, we squeezed a little bit more performance out of it by using 49 days, excluding the most recent 14 days. Now, usually I don't optimize systems to that level, but it really made logical sense because it's a 7-day market. So 49 days, which actually was the optimal thing, kind of made an elegant solution. And the most recent 14 days was excluding the most recent 2 weeks. I thought it, as well as being the best performance, it was also elegant. So usually it's a mistake to over optimize trading systems, but this one I allowed. So the results are incredible. I turned a 70K initial investment, it was 100,000 Aussie, which was 70K US at the time, into just under $1 million. I pulled out half when it got there. I pulled out 495,000, and that was on March 21, and the account kept growing, which was cool. No one's happier about it than me. And by the time I was writing this, we're a little bit below this now, but it was at 756,000, and we were making this was a $129,000 day, all from 100,000 Aussie, 70,000 US, and everyone in the group got a big chunk too. We had 2 drawdown weeks in the last 13. And I was incredibly excited. I took the winning parameters into a simulator, and I was just going to, run a giant backtest for years and years, expecting a slam dunk result. I was ready to just roll it out and start trading it. And I was just waiting for a proper backtest to be done. I was going to scale up, put some more capital at risk, pull some out of my long-term systems, really go for a life-changing win. And I was making, tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars every week. And when I finally got it into the simulator, it didn't look good. So it had these amazing periods where it would do 5x or 10x in a few months in terms of Bitcoin. And then it would lose value in terms of Bitcoin. But those are actually the periods where Bitcoin was going parabolic. So it would still make money, but at first I was gutted. And then I dug a bit more into it. For a start, the periods where it was performing well, it was a period where Bitcoin was crushing anyone. And the solution was kind of obvious after we looked at the data. There were these incredible periods where you're making 2,000 to 5,000% per year and then giving a lot back. But when I researched those periods a bit, it wasn't like crypto was losing money overall. It was just better to hold Ethereum or Bitcoin. And so this is a weekly chart of Bitcoin back to a ways. And these red boxes are the periods where it was optimal to hold altcoins. 1, 2, 3, here, May through September 2020. And in this period, it wasn't optimal at all to hold altcoins. Altcoins still sucked. And now it's altcoin time. Has anyone heard the phrase alt season? And if you know what it is, put it in the chat. So it's this mythical thing for crypto traders. And it really is like this, 98% of the time it's shit, and then you've got alt season and you're crushing it, and then you're back to shit. So altcoin trading sounds amazing, but on the hard right edge of the chart, altcoin trading is really quite difficult because you've got to put up with these very brief periods where Bitcoin is the best thing. And Michael, I'll show you how it works when alt season isn't on. It works great. So during alt seasons, virtually every single altcoin goes up, and it's only a question of how much. Every altcoin's gone up since 2021. Couldn't find one that hasn't. If you have, it's a shitcoin. And so what we did was I modified the greed index to identify these incredibly profitable times, and it was the missing piece of the puzzle. So it literally multiplied system profitability by 10 times. And here's how it works. So you remember the greed index calculates the total unbanked paper profit of Bitcoin traders and turns it into a ratio against market capitalization of Bitcoin. That data is there for altcoins. It's just more difficult to get. So I asked myself, why can't we do the same thing with altcoins? Why can't we work out how much profit altcoin traders have and compare that to how much profit Bitcoin traders have? Because those are becoming different markets as time goes on. And not only does it work just the same, it's slightly different. It works far better than I ever imagined. So here's how. So the long-term greed index in Bitcoin tells us when the bigger bull market cycle is beginning and when the bigger bull market cycle ends. Like Bitcoin always goes first. And Bitcoin is the dog and the altcoins are the tail. And we need some more granularity for trading altcoins. We need to be able to answer a simple question. Will altcoins go up this week? We don't need to know, are we still in a bull market? We need to know, are altcoins going to go up this week? And obviously, if we know that, then investing in the strongest altcoins for that week, it's a literal slam dunk. So the proper thing to measure isn't really the greed index for Bitcoin as a whole, in terms of the whole cycle, but really the short-term zigs and zags of the altcoin market. And they're similar and they're related, but they're ultimately not quite the same. So we recreated the greed index, but using altcoin data. And then the secret sauce, which made it work, is that we do some number crunching to take into account only the short-term traders, because the short-term altcoin flipping shitcoin traders, they're the guys who drive the short-term wiggles of the market. So strictly speaking, we're calculating an altcoin greed index, but only for coins that have been bought within the last 155 days. So we're not trying to take into account altcoin hodlers, because if someone's decided my trading strategy is to buy altcoins, put them in my back pocket, never touch them, there's nothing that's going to convince, no little wiggle of the market is going to shake them out, right? So what we want to do is measure the behavior of the traders who actually can be shaken out. And the traders that can be shaken out are the guys that are short-term flipping from this shitcoin to that shitcoin to the shitcoin. So we want to measure just the coins that have been traded within the last 155 days. And there's a reason for that. That's the perfect day, by the way. I think I covered it in webinar 3. And we're going to do the same greed and fear thing, but with altcoins and just for short-term traders. That's the secret sauce. Now, in this way, we can now measure the sweet spot where altcoin traders start feeling rich, and they typically invest their profits in buying more altcoins. They double down on what's working. And that's how it works, right? Like why do altcoins moon? Because some guy with Ethereum all of a sudden has a pile of money. He's got a pile of profits. Now he can start spreading his investments around a bit. They go up. All of a sudden he's feeling rich. He'll buy a few more bags. He gets a little bit excited, buys this like 2-cent shit coin. It goes up. And then eventually, that's how it works. Like that's how the psychology works. So let's look at how well this has worked in the past. So, for example, our system switched to alt season on 25th of December. You can see 24th, it was Bitcoin, 25th alt season. And I've got a chart of a good selection of all the major cryptos, Ripple, Litecoin, Neo, ZRX, blah, blah, blah. Now, remember, we only switch out of Bitcoin or Ethereum into altcoins when the short-term trader altcoin greed index hits a certain level. So you can see that altcoins did nothing. Our alt season started, actually, no, that arrow is wrong. Our alt season started right here, December 25th, 2020. Now, let's dive a little deeper. You can see there's a couple of standouts, right? That red line, that's the strongest performing altcoin this year. Who knows what it was? Yeah, everyone knows it's Doge. Who would have believed it? So is there anyone who thought last year that Doge would be the strongest performing crypto asset? And not only that, but have the strongest single year performance of any asset in the last 100 years, of any sort. Best performing asset in the last 100 years. Best performing asset since the tulip bubble is Dogecoin. It's retarded. The very idea of suggesting it is ludicrous. Good boy, very blockchain. It's a literal joke coin. And if you tell me you predicted this last year, you're just lying. And so where did we buy it? 2021, January 27th. January 27th, bought Doge. Because our system bought Doge, which I think is a shitcoin. I really do. So alt season switched on here. And what you can see is that Doge outperformed. This red line is Doge. And so by outperforming early, Doge becomes one of the strongest coins, right? Like this is the strongest coin right now. And so because it's the strongest coin, we buy it here. And I want you to pay attention to a couple of things here. First, you can see the exact moment where altcoins wake up after a year doing nothing, which is almost exactly when our system started trading alts again. Before that, we spent a year switching intelligently between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we've made really good gains switching between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I'll show you that in a moment. And you can see Doge outperforms, the system selects it, and it starts pulling away. It was January 27th, which was here. And this other standout line, this purple bitch here, this is Luna, which was bought the week earlier. And this method of coin selection, where you don't worry about which is the best coin. You don't have arguments with anyone about my coin's better than your coin or this one's it's not relevant. And if it stops being a great coin, you're not going to be holding it anymore because it's not one of the strongest coins anymore. So you're only holding the things that are actually doing what you want them to do, which is going up. And you're doing that in an opinionless, methodical, statistical way without listening or caring about any of that other bullshit, which I fucking hate. It's retarded. So let's look at a longer term chart. Antoine, French croissant coin. Antoine is a very famous French crypto influencer who started his own coin called French croissant coin. You have to be very careful about owning it because as soon as you own it, Antoine bangs your girlfriend. In fact, even by checking the price on that coin, Antoine could actually be sleeping with your girlfriend just while you check it. So altcoins were actually a very frustrating investment for most of this time. And they were doing absolutely 4/5 of fuck all. Like, do something. They're doing nothing. You're holding alts and Bitcoin's going through the roof and everyone's telling you, oh, crypto's back on again. And you're like, oh, I didn't get any. And then alts go crazy in a very short period of time. But it gets worse because the performance of Bitcoin and Ethereum during that period, they were both up over 260% for the year. It was 263, about the same. So I think you'll agree that what makes both logical and financial sense is to hold Bitcoin and Ethereum for most of the time and then swap out into alts when it's alt season. And this is such a game changer, it can't be overstated. You know, so instead of this rare pockets of incredible performance, you get smooth and consistent performance right throughout the bull market, which turns this from a hobby grade, like an enthusiast project, into something that's professional grade, suitable for running millions. So combined with the peace of mind you get from knowing you'll go to cash right at the peak of the madness and emerge unscathed with all your profits intact. And I'm sure you'll agree this is the absolute, definitive, optimal strategy for investing in cryptos. And the 49 members of our Inner Circle mentorship group, they've reaped a massive windfall this year. On our weekly Saturday morning calls, we've diligently applied the system every week. Those calls have kept me on track. And I'll show you some results. I'm going to concentrate on 2021 here because for a start, that's the real world results. That's not like hypothetical. And if I show you old results from back to 2016, it just shows 100,000, literally hundreds of thousands of percent gains. And that's bullshit. And you know, we can't go back in time. And it just gives you an unrealistic view of how much it's reasonable to make. So we don't have a time machine. We can't go back to 50 cent Ethereum and $200 Bitcoin. And I don't want to pretend that you can. And I don't want to be fake and I don't want to show results like that. I'd rather concentrate on what's real and realistic right now in 2021. So this doesn't include the most recent week's results. I don't know if any of you saw we did 63% last week. So let's run down these weekly profits to get like down in the weeds feel of how it was like. First week of the year, 22.6%. These profits are in Bitcoin and not in cash. So the cash value is over here. You can see it went from 10,000 to 95,000 in 17 weeks. But these are against Bitcoin because don't forget what our system is trying to do is not make the most amount of money. It's trying to accumulate the most Bitcoin. It's trying to stack sats of Bitcoin. So our job is to outperform the market, and the market for us is Bitcoin. We're trying to beat Bitcoin. So we did 22%, 15.8, 16.8, 55, second biggest week, 30.5, 1.1, had a down week. What was our down week like? It was down 5%, less than most of the up weeks.
immediately recovered. That's important to notice. When you have a down week, does it stay sucking for a while, or does it bounce back? That's a good thing to know for a system. Bounce back with 13.8, 4.1, punched in the face a little with a 12.2% decline on the 3rd of March. Did it bounce back? Fuck yeah, it did. 17.6, 9.9% in a week. Now, that doesn't sound like much money, but like even 3.6% a week compounding is bullshit money. Like by the time it compounds up by the end of the year, it's stupid, ludicrous money, especially with Bitcoin going crazy. Have a down week here, down 0.1%, no big deal. Up 7.9, decent punch in the face. I remember this one, 16.8%. How did we recover? So what's important in trading systems is not do you get punched in the face, because you always get punched in the face. It's a fight. It's can you stay on your feet and recover, and you can see it recovered the very next week. And these weekly gains are measured against Bitcoin once again. So the cash return is way, way higher. So in 2021, our system outperformed Bitcoin by 612%. It was at 376% before this week. So, but don't forget that 62% last week was on the top. Bitcoin did nothing last week, by the way, barely anything. And our system did 62%. So it's just streaking away, 612% better than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin wasn't a bad thing to hold. $10,000 on January 1st turns into $162,000 in May 10. That's pretty fucking good. I'm proud of that. I'm legitimately proud of being able to do that. And every single day, my email blows up with people asking if they can blow the system yet. It's driving Jennifer crazy. And with profits like these last week alone, you can see why. So look at these awful shit coins we held. No one would choose these. Ethereum Classic, it's valueless. It's a scam. It was up 158%. XRP down 4.63%. Mark Stone, yeah, I know you love it. It sucks. TRX, another shitcoin, up 8.5%. QTUM, 73%. And EOS, 56%. So our return in US dollars was out of control. So we did 58.43% against Bitcoin, 63% in cash. So at this point in the webinar, I'd like to introduce you to the automated wealth creation engine. It's pretty cool. And it is what it sounds like. It's a simple to use wealth creation engine that's designed to maximize profit from the crypto bull market. And then cash you out right at the very top within a few days of the ultimate peak. Takes 5 minutes a week maximum. In many weeks, it took me less than 5 minutes. I just timed myself. It took me 2 minutes, 37 seconds. And after you finish, you do not check it during the week. And I fucked up on that last week, which admittedly can be hard when you see gains like we saw last week. So, I mean, I reloaded the charts many times watching this awful shitcoin. And I had fun. It was a bad idea. It did not help my trading, but it was fun. And unlike my other systems, which many of you trade already, there are no rules to learn. You can trade it perfectly on your very first day. You don't need to know how the blockchain works. You don't need to know anything about the actual altcoins. I don't, largely. It's okay if you think crypto is a scam. And I'm not even going to argue about you. If you think it's a scam, it's okay. It works on the biggest crypto exchanges, including the US-only ones, and the Australian ones, and the EU ones. Works on Coinbase, Binance, Binance.us, Kraken, Bittrex, KuCoin, CoinSpot, Independent Reserve, which is an Australian one that I happen to use. You only need an account with one of them. I personally use Binance, but it's no better and no worse than the others. It's not like this one's great and those others are shit. And here's how it works. Lindsay, yes, it does help. George, I've had other people talk to me about SwiftX. I don't know it, so I never use it, so I can't comment on it. So on Monday, you get the alerts. Everything happens Monday. This is how it works. It's really simple. You whack in which currency you're in. It works in US dollar, euro, British pound, JPY, Aussie, Canadian, or Swissy. You put in your account balance in there. That's it. You hit the button, and it tells you which coins to hold for the week, and it tells you the exact amount of coins that you've got to buy. You got to go buy this many Mana. You got to go buy this many Kusama. You got to go buy this many Polkadot, this many ADA, and this many XML. That's it. That's all it is. And when it's best to just hold Bitcoin, it'll tell you just to hold Bitcoin. It doesn't have any others. So our mode here is altcoins. And when it's best to hold Ethereum, it tells you just to hold Ethereum. And when it's alt season, we hold the 5 strongest altcoins, just 5. And there's good reasons for that. I'll probably take some questions after the webinar's over, and I'll show you some stats. And it could not be simpler. Anyone can do it. I didn't want a situation where I just created another new job for myself. And I'm a busy man now. I don't have many hours in the day, and I don't want to take my eye off the ball with my Forex scalping business. And the last thing I need is a new high pressure, high stakes job trading crypto where I have to micromanage, check things all day, look for patterns, read charts. I can't have that. David, so it doesn't matter if you're US based and you can't trade a lot of the altcoins available to US citizens. No, it works on the universe that was actually optimal, and I'll get to this a bit later, is actually the universe that US citizens can trade. So it actually worked out well because there's a lot of US citizens and they're all comparatively wealthy. The optimal universe is the intersection between the international exchanges and the Coinbase and Binance.us exchanges. So it's a happy accident, but the optimal universe is the universe that Americanos can trade. Richard Walker, I don't know if Independent Reserve offers all the coins. I buy Bitcoin on an Independent Reserve and then I shove it into Binance and do my trading in Binance. I don't even know if that's the best way to do it. I'm not an expert there. So I don't want to spend hours updating spreadsheets and analyzing trades like I do with my other systems. And my 77-year-old father is like white guy boomer out of the white guy boomer textbooks. He's going to trade this system, and so it needs to be as simple as possible. And it's an automated, done-for-you implementation of everything I've talked about. You don't need to know or care about the technical stuff. You don't need to know anything about individual coins. You don't need to know the blockchain technology itself. You don't need to know about markets and how they move and investment psychology. You don't even know any of that. And every week it keeps track of how much money you've made in both Bitcoin and your currency of choice. So it tracks the returns in Bitcoin and it tracks the returns in either US dollar or Aussie dollar or euro or whatever you're in, or British pound. So all the profit graphs are taken care of. So you can just click for system profit and loss graph. So you don't have to waste hours a week updating spreadsheets like I do. And best of all, one day you're going to get a special alert message from me. And it might be in 9 months, it might be in 2 years, but one day I'm going to tell you just to get to the computer and today's the day, fucking sell it all. And on that day, my responsibility doesn't end with just sending out an email. I'll be picking up the phone, I'll be calling every one of the 100 people to make absolutely sure you don't fuck this up. And I'm sure you can imagine by then it's going to be a beautiful roller coaster ride. And we're going to be making $1 million in a day and losing $1 million in a day and making 2 and losing 1. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be the craziest thing you've ever seen. And you won't want it to end. You will not want to sell. And I've been there and I did not want to sell and I didn't sell and I wrecked myself. And fucked if that's going to happen again. And I'm going to talk you down from that ledge and stop you rolling the dice one more time. And we're all going to cash out at the same time on the same day with life-changing money. We're going to drop the mic. Legendary investors, us. Legendary investors, us. Prove it forever. And this is my time for greatness. It really is. This is my time. Nothing's going to stand in the way of me achieving this. Like this is what I want worse than anything else in the world. And my whole trading career, I've dreamed of parlaying an incredible fortune from the markets. And honestly, I can't call myself a good trader until I've done this. And this is me, and this is who I am. I've spent 14 years doing this, and this is my fucking time, and I'm doing it. And let's make no mistake, this is a 1 in 100 year bull market. This is not a regular, ordinary sort of bull market. We know that each crypto market is bigger than the last. And this is one for the fucking history books. Already it's one for the history books. And it's just getting started. This is a tulip level mania, and we can ride this to the fucking moon. Fucking Lambos. Lambos for all. And what are my alternatives here? You can just hold your coins through a 90% decline, which happens every single time. Or you can rely on chart reading and technical analysis. And I have to tell you, I'm a pretty good technical trader. I'm famous for it. I've released courses on it. And I'm just not good enough to consistently get it right on the hard right edge of the chart when there's millions at stake. I'm not that good, and I don't think anyone is. And we might not see a bull market this strong again in our lifetimes. And every year, crypto becomes a little more mainstream, a little less Wild West. And when things get mainstream, it'll go back to being 30 or 40% bull markets or 200% bull markets instead of 10,000% bull markets. The truth is, I need a system, and so do you. Now, you can replicate my work if you go through the 4-webinar series. It's got absolutely every single thing you need to replicate my work. You can do it, no doubt at all, in the world. Mine took me 2 years and 3,000 hours of work, 1,000 hours of work in the last month alone, and I'm not exactly a beginner. It's not my first day. You can do it, especially with what I've shown you in the webinar series. Just follow along and you'll do it. But by the time you finish, where will the market be? Now, Bitcoin might be over 200,000. You'll be getting in right at the end of the bull market, at the worst possible time to start trading. You'll be trading with thousands instead of millions if you do that. And if you don't get the switch off to cash mechanism perfectly correct, it might be you holding the bag, suffering through that painful bear market. And even worse, if you're stuck in altcoins, they might be shitty altcoins that never recover. You could just do what most people do and do your own research, but the problem with that is that you never know when the music stopped and it's time to sell. And as soon as you do hours and hours of research on a coin, you naturally become convinced you're right. That's how it works. I do the research and I'm like, wow, this coin is so good. Wow, it's going to go to the moon. I'm so right. I'm so smart. And every time you look at it, it becomes more and more solid. You become more and more convinced, and you can't notice when you're wrong. Our inner circle group, they profited hand over fist this year. And we're just getting started, guys. Every day I get emails and comments like these. Holy shit. I just wish I had more money in. Jumped in them all through my Bitrex account. Things are looking healthy again. Beers are on me. Shit is a bloody roller coaster. Damn straight it is, Dave. It's now 180. Holy fucking right. I hold as much as you in ETC, and this is nuts. Skyrocketing. Love that word. It's scary. Yeah, it is scary. Like buying those terrible shit coins last week was scary, but that's what I thought last week. Boom, she went. So we trust the system, and here we go again. Let's roll the dice one more time. So only 100 of you will ever get to trade this system. And there's a good reason for that. And I'm buying the same coins as you, trading right alongside of you. And if too many of us use it, we run the risk of moving the market when we buy it. And it would be stupid of me to have thousands of people bidding up the price of the coins I want to buy, because it's going to cost me hugely in the long run. And I can't take that risk, and it wouldn't be fair to the people who are paying good money for the system to have their profits eroded by having too many people use it. So just 100 people. And I know for a fact there are way more than 100 people planning on getting it. So if you want it, act quickly. So you all know that I'm fanatical about the superiority of systematic rules-based trading. And even me, with all my experience and my knowledge and my tens of thousands of lifetime trades, every single time I trade without a system, I fuck it up. Every single time. The other alternatives are just gambling, putting your money in a coin, hoping and praying it becomes a moonshot. But the problem with that is there's just no way you're going to be able to time this right. And if you don't get started right away, this bull market will run away from you. This is my best guess for where we are. We probably got a little bit more upside and we're due for a big fuck you, and then the shit goes crazy. This is about where we are. We haven't had the first sell-off yet, so we can't. You could be forced to chase the market up and buy Bitcoin at 100,000, at 150K, or even higher. And at that point, it might even be too scary to take the plunge. So you'll be left stuck on the sidelines like a sucker watching the rest of us get paid. And I know some of you have already done a lot of research, have long-term crypto holdings you love, and I don't want to make you doubt yourself, but what I do want to make sure is that you hold those coins when it's the most powerful time to hold them. And more important, I want to make sure you get out right at the very moment it's about to go to shit. And you get this wonderful, lifetime experience of being on the right side of a bull market and not selling and riding that wave all the way to the perfect top and jumping out at the perfect time without experiencing any of the pain that surely comes. Keep the altcoins you really love, but you use my signals to get you out right at the ultimate top. If you can't bear to part with your altcoin bags, that's the way. You use the signals to get you out right at the top. And that's the key to profit maximization. So now's the time you've been waiting for. Let's talk about the price. I'm pretty sure you'll agree that for a system that's already made millions, I charge any fucking thing that I want. You'll buy it. If I charge you $100,000 and it's guaranteed to make you $1 million, if it was guaranteed, you'd do it, right? And there is no doubt that this system has indeed made all those profits. And if you watch me do it along the way and saw the increasing account balances and got a chunk of it yourself, just enter in the chat if you know that, just so that people who've never heard of me before know that this isn't all just marketing bullshit. Like, it is like an actual real thing that's actually happened. It's not hypothetical, it's actually happened. Just so people know this is legit. And if you've actually made some of the profits we've been talking about, put it in the chat too. So I'm not going to charge you $100,000. I'm not going to charge you 50. I'm not even going to charge you 10, and I think 10 is a pretty fair price for it. This would be stunning value at $5,000. You agree? I'm not going to charge you that. My one-time only special launch price for the first 100 people today is $2,000. So, Abe, if you're watching, could you let me post this in the chat? 2,000 USD. So in the chat, and I'll just put that link up for a sec. And then we'll talk about the guarantee. Okay, so the URL is go.automatedwealthcreationmachine.com/join. And if you have any problems going that, Abe is in the chat. He's going to go through it with you, but I'd like to talk to you about I'd like to talk to you about the guarantee. Do you accept crypto? Yeah, happy to accept crypto, but I haven't even thought about how it gets out for that. So if you shoot me an email, we can do that. Anton, I believe Jennifer was talking to you about PayPal. Just shout help, Abe is here. All right, so let's talk about the guarantee. I'm sure you want a guarantee, and here's the best guarantee in the world. What I'm promising is no small thing. It's a big fucking claim. I'm promising to time the eventual market top for you. And if I don't do what I'm promising to do, I don't deserve to get paid. I just don't. So here's my guarantee. If I don't help you time within a week either side of the eventual market top, and you can actually show that you followed the system for at least a month, and you still aren't happy with the money you've made, then I'll give you a full refund. I really believe that I can do all these things I promise. This isn't just bullshit. It's not marketing hype. I can do it or I'm not going to get paid. And I'm prepared to stake my reputation and my money on that. And let's be brutally honest here. This system is working so well, not because I'm so smart. It's not that at all. It's because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity and the market's going bananas. It's the market doing it, not me. If you don't take this opportunity right now, you might never see a bull market this powerful ever again. And I know it's scary taking action, but if life hasn't given you the outcomes you want and you want to change your life, it's up to you to take action when opportunity knocks. This is your year. This is your time. Let's fucking get some. So there's click the link in the chat. I'm just going to deal with a few things in the chat. There's a few people with issues here and there. But before we do that, and I'll answer some questions, go through some frequently asked questions, and it's time to answer some questions. I just want to say it's a great honor and privilege of my life to serve my trading community, and by forcing me to be accountable and legitimate, you've all been able to help me continually improve who I am as a trader and as a person, and that doesn't happen when I'm not held accountable, and I appreciate you. I really do. Okay, so if you want to pay with PayPal, or crypto, shoot me an email right now at scott@scottphillipstrading. Actually, let me send a few messages. Yes, you can pay with debit cards. If there's Robert Watkins, anyone who wants to pay with crypto, send me a message and I'll send you an address. I haven't even thought about that before today. I probably should have. Scott@scottphillipstrading.com. It's my great pleasure to help you, Frank. And Mark Simon, shoot me an email and we'll do crypto. Dave Campbell, fuck yeah, buddy. Let's get it. Tom, if you shoot me an email, we'll figure something out for you. Scott@scottphillipstrading. And let me put that URL up. It's go.automatedwealthcreationmachine.com/join. Yeah, let me talk about some frequently asked questions. So how long does it take? It takes about 10 minutes. Ryan says he's perfectly made 200 to 300K on a modified version of my Holy Grail system, so this is a no-brainer. I'm surprised it's not sold out already. I reckon it will. Do I need to know anything about trading? No, you don't need to know anything about trading. Is there a learning curve? No, anyone can do it on their first day. Do I need to understand blockchain? No. Do I need to do research on altcoins? No, you don't need to know anything. How do you predict? We don't predict, but we observe. Because the data of when people are bought and sold is stored permanently, we can observe when the unbanked paper profits are at an unsustainable extreme and when they start falling. And this is marked every single market top. Works in every country in the world. It's designed for Coinbase, Binance US, CoinSpot, Kraken, Bittrex. There's no software you need to download. It's all on a web page. Ryan, I don't think it's realistic to predict returns because this is a parabolic a feedback loop, right? So have you ever heard that noise that a microphone makes when it squelches, when it just goes super loud and screeches? A runaway bull market is exactly like that. So just in the same way that it's impossible to predict exactly how loud it's going to get, but you know it's going to get fucking loud. It's impossible to predict exactly where parabolic bull markets are going to go. In fact, predicting eventual numbers is a fool's errand. So if I was to wager a guess that I wouldn't put anything on, I'd say 250 to 300K is about right. Other people are saying more, but I think that would be conservative. You don't need to get your funds, Scott says, having funds into Binance. You don't need to get your funds into Binance. You can get your funds onto crypto any way you want. If you can't get them, if you're in some weird country like, some African country that doesn't have big exchanges, you can use localbitcoins.com. You can buy anywhere in the world. So all you need is one exchange to get money into Bitcoins, and then you can trade it on any of the exchanges that will have you. Stu, the only risk here is that things get so crazy that governments step in. Yeah, that could happen. I'm not saying that couldn't happen. It becomes exponentially more difficult for governments to ban it now that Wall Street has the pigs in the trough. So yeah, Gemini is a very good exchange. Gemini is probably the best exchange in America, right? So if it's unlikely to be banned, it is likely to be regulated. What is regulation going to do? It's going to take the wild swings out of it, stop the scams in it. It's going to turn it into just a regular old boring old man market like the old man stocks. So really, this is our last chance to really have this Wild West. Thanks, George. Shoot me an email. Any more questions, guys? You just get your money in on Gemini and then trade it to another exchange that'll have you. There's plenty that'll have you. Binance.us will have you. Can you read? Yes, I will give you a quick recap of what you get exactly. So what you get is a login with alerts to this. It's a web page. Once a week you log onto it and it tells you what to do. What you get for 2K is until you don't get it forever. You get it until the end of this bull market. Sorry, I should have mentioned that actually. And when this bull market is over, I'll tell you to cash out. At that point, we will stop. We've done our day's work. We've cashed out our profits together. That's the end. That's what you get. You can, Mac, what is the minimum crypto? There is no minimum. You could trade it with $5, but the system costs $2,000. So, it has to make sense for you. Like if you're trading it with $50, I wouldn't say spend $2,000 on something you're gonna trade with $50, right? Jonathan Lim says, I just used a quarter of the gains that I made last week to pay for this course. Scotty, when do we get the logins, mate? Probably tomorrow. We don't need them for another week, maybe 2 days. No, it's not lifetime, and because lifetime's a long time. Yes, you actually have to action the trades, but it only takes a couple of minutes. We do have a fully automated version, but I didn't want to release it. I was just too afraid that some hacker's going to get in and steal everyone's money and be a disaster. Stephen Rhodes, let me send you. Let me send you there. Oh, actually, there is one trick with it. The switch off date, the eventual time when it switches off, that might not happen once a week. That's a time critical thing. But on that, so that might happen on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Whenever it happens, you don't need to be checking your emails. I'll be picking up the phone. I'll actually personally pick up the phone and I'll dial all 100 of you. I'm going to make sure of that. And Simon makes a very good question. Is there a set time to action trades? That is a really good question, and it doesn't matter. It turns out that because your other coins are going up, you're selling one set of coins and buying another set. So if you're a couple of hours late, those other set are going to be sold for more and you'll pay a little bit more. Or if they're going down, you'll be going down. And that's actually why we chose Monday and not Sunday. On Sunday, they have a statistical tendency to have a higher volatility. So it becomes a little bit stressful while the market's moving. Robert Watkins says he has 20 years IT infrastructure experience and manual trade execution is the best security. Great choice to avoid APIs and a hack your honeypot. I wanted to do it that way, but my team were just like, don't be a dick, Scott. Shannon, it's going to be a ride, but I'm looking forward to that ride. Are there stop losses? That is a great question. So, big problem with stop losses. Check this out. That is a really good question also. So exchanges being manipulated because of these bullshit Wild West things can get flash crash. So for example, Ethereum crashed from $1,300 down to a few cents in 10 seconds, then back up. So if you had a stop loss, you'd have been fucked. And this has happened with all different coins. So hard stop losses are unsuitable for use in crypto markets. So how do we approach that? How do we approach that is that you're holding the 5 strongest coins. So if your coin starts sucking to the point where it would have hit a stop loss, it's impossible for it to still be one of the 5 strongest coins. Any time on Monday at all, it does not matter. It does not matter what time zone. Personally, I'm planning on doing it at around 5 p.m. 5 p.m. here in Bangkok, but it just does not matter. Josh, will you make a Facebook group? Yeah, I should. I mean, I don't really need an extra communications platform. That sounds like an extra job, but yeah, I will. I will. Lindsay, Lambos, fucking everyone. Dale, to be honest, I wouldn't do it with less than $1,000. Maybe I'd do a bit less, but not too much less. Um, David, is the system only good to use in this current market period, or can it be used in other crypto markets in the future? Almost certainly, it's going to work again in the future. I personally doubt that it will ever be as good as this bull market, because this is the last of the Wild West markets. Next time it'll be a fully regulated. It'll look like the stock market. It'll go up. It'll go up fast. It'll do what it always does, which is crash and boom. But I think this is the last time that it's like stupid. Brian, can you reach out to support@scottphillipstrading.com? And Simon doesn't have confidence in the Binance API, even the call only. I've had problems with it. Safest to manually trade. I agree. James, we use more than just the MVRV. We use a whole pile of these on-chain metrics together and accumulate them. There's a whole lot of backup and redundancy in them. And Ogden, is it always an equal split between all 5 strongest coins? Yes, it is. Benjamin, if you shoot me an email, we can do PayPal. Yes, Robert, you're in, man. All right, guys, it's been a 20% coin in each now instead of volatility weighted. That's a great question, Dale. So we started trading the system with what's called volatility weighting position sizing, which is a stock trading thing where the more volatile coins get smaller positions. What we actually found when we tested it was that was both confusing, technical, you needed to know maths, and it was suboptimal because the reason it was suboptimal is because the coins that moon the fastest are the highly volatile coins, and the whole game of alt season is making as much money as you can from alt seasons and getting back to Bitcoin. So by doing volatility weighting position sizing, we smooth things out, but smoothing things out isn't the game. This is the game. The sun's shining, we got to make hay. No problem, Dave. Can you just shoot me an email and I'll forward it to our support team and they'll take care of that for you. Do I use margin? That's a great question. No, I never use margin. I don't think it's necessary. If you know the sort of games that we've been getting aren't good enough for you and you want to like lever up, like to me, that's the sign of gambling, not trading. I wouldn't do it. All right, guys, I'm going to email everyone out that join page URL now, and thank you all so much for your time, and it's a great pleasure and honor of my life that you guys trust me, and I won't let you down. All right, guys. What a day, hey?